Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Yu. I'm Assistant Professor of Communication Arts here at Gordon. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all to the 2026 JUD Talks. So thank you for being here. Your presence really makes this evening so meaningful. So tonight, we are going to celebrate the power of ideas. Ideas that inspire, challenge, and invite us to see the world differently. Also, as a Christian community like us, we also recognize that communication is a gift. One of the ways we reflect God's creativity by sharing the truth and sharing the stories, and also by building understanding with one another. So the JUD Talk is more than a speech competition. It is a space where students discover their voices and step forward with courage to share what matters.
Thank you, Dr. Yu. My name is Tim Morgan. I'm one of the speech coaches, and I also teach speech and journalism here at the college. I am truly happy to see so many of you here. I'll be even happier if you silence your mobile phones. So take a moment to do that. Our speakers have really been stretching themselves with some amazingly challenging topics. So sit back and relax and be prepared to engage with their content. I am truly excited for this lineup. It's going to be a real treat.
At this time, we would like to turn it over to our first speaker. Johnny is a major in fine arts with 2 minors in music and English. And his speech tonight is called Counter-Reductive Art, A New Imagination. Give it up for Johnny.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you here tonight. Today, I want to share with you the way art has radically reshaped my perspective over the past 4 years, from a 2-dimensional way of viewing myself, creation, and others, to a rich and abundant understanding of our shared humanity. But before I get too ahead of myself, I'd like to invite you all to simply reflect on a question. What is art? Nothing too crazy, right? Take a few seconds to reflect to yourself. What word or image comes to mind? Take a few moments. All right. Now, please turn to someone next to you. It could be behind you or in front of you. Turn to your neighbor and just share what you've come up with. What is the word or image that comes to mind? Take a few more seconds. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. I don't know what you answered, but the reality is that art can often feel out of reach and inaccessible to us today. And that's a problem. It's a problem because in a society that has become increasingly obsessed with hyperproductivity, self-centeredness, and isolationism from each other, art should be the one space where conversations can still happen. And that's what I want to invite you into today, to develop your artistic eye as a powerful act of resistance against the present age of reductionism. But whoa, what do I mean by reductionism? Well, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you felt tired? Lonely? Burnt out? See, if you're anything like me, your honest answer is probably more recent than you'd like. But that's the reality of our hyper-productivity-obsessed society that was formed during the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment was a time of great intellectual growth, but also a rewiring of human relationship. Thinkers during the Enlightenment introduced us to a method of breaking down a large system into its smaller components so we can manage it more efficiently. That was reductionism. And while reductionism is helpful in the sciences where we often need to manipulate a lot of variables, it quickly becomes problematic once it seeps into society, transforming everything, including human connection, through a warped cost-benefit mentality. How is this person useful for me? The person in front of us no longer becomes someone to love or to serve, but a thing to study, to look at, to use. Friends, reductionism is like a disease. It blinds us from our shared humanity. It blinds us from the truth that we are people made by the same God, made in his perfect image. And reductionism is not just something out there, it's inside every one of us. We participate in the constant flattening of our reality to maximize productivity every day. Plugging in our earbuds when walking to class, getting frustrated with others' orders when waiting in line for coffee, shouting at the car in front of us for moving too slow for our pace. See, in a society that will prioritize anything above human relationship, there are endless ways we try to reduce the image of God in others. But is there any way to heal from this reductionism, this flattening of reality? We need healing. We need renewal from the poison of hyperproductivity. As an artist, I want to encourage you that yes, there is a powerful antidote to our warped ways of seeing each other. Engaging in art can heal us from the instrumental relationships of our age. Art does this by slowing us down, calling us to pause, and to encounter our neighbor in true relationship. Art provides us with a renewed imagination for what our lives could like, to see our shared humanity again. But how exactly does art do this? Well, Jewish philosopher and theologian Martin Buber suggests there are two ways of viewing human relationship. We can think of this as two pairs of glasses or two lenses. The first pair distances me from my neighbor and invites me to think of them through reductive mental images. He calls this the I-it. The second pair invites me to encounter my neighbor in sacrificial love, to allow them to remain a boundless living being outside of my own imagination. He calls this the I-thou. See, every day we have a choice to make. What pair of glasses are we going to put on? Is it going to be the reductive I-it or the relational I-thou? In sharing the generous encounter between the artist and her subject visually, art breaks us out of our flattened view of relationships and of other people. I see the I-thou very clearly depicted in the work of German artist Käthe Kollwitz. Kollwitz regularly encountered people often overlooked in society, the homeless, the poor, vulnerable mothers and their children. In encountering these people herself and then painstakingly sharing their story visually, Kollwitz breaks us out of our reductive images of these people. She provides us with a renewed imagination to see these people as our equal, to see them as image bearers worthy of entering into relationship with. Or let's consider the work of Kehinde Wiley, an African-American artist who replaces past depictions of status in the Western art tradition with beautiful portraits of people of color today. By displaying these real stories in an unexpected way, Wiley shows us that we are more similar than we are different. His work heals us from this warped perspective of relationship. Wiley's work subverts our tendency to treat others as two-dimensional stick figures in our self-centered narratives, showing us instead that there is rich relationship to be found in our stories. Ultimately, art invites us to see each other, to see ourselves as God's poema, God's artwork, God's poetry, God's handiwork. Christian artist and activist Makoto Fujimura sees the artist's role in a reductionistic world as a prism or kaleidoscope, revealing creation through an expansive lens, revealing beauty in ever wider zones. Art provides us with a renewed imagination for what our lives could look like. And that's exactly what we love about the work of Vincent van Gogh. Not his reductive botanical accuracy in depicting a bouquet, rather the way his flowers become something much more. A symbol, a mystery, a dance, an invitation into the rich and abundant creation far beyond the canvas. See, art, like a match, rekindles our relationship with creation and with one another and with God. So, think back to the word or image that you chose to describe art in the beginning. What's changed? What's stuck with you? How is your definition challenged? Are you starting to see how, like me, you have bought into the lie of hyperproductivity over true human flourishing? Are you starting to see the sickness of reductionism in your own flattening of reality? See, art provides us with a renewed imagination to see our shared humanity again, to see what our life could look like. But what can you do to get started? Well, I would say start simple. Instead of 10 minutes spent on your phone scrolling, go to the Barrington Gallery. Go alone or grab a friend. Be open, slow down. Encounter the work fully, even if you just don't get it at first. I think you'll be surprised by what you see, or rather how you'll start to see the world anew as a result. Thank you for your attention.